Well, hey everyone, thanks for joining us for the first session of July's Advisor Ambassador Program. My name is Zach Hewells, and I work in the Communications and Marketing Department at the NAFA Home Office. We have a great speaker for you today, Matt Wilson. Matt is a member from NAFA Alabama. He is a past president of both NAFA Birmingham and an immediate past president of NAFA Alabama. Today, Matt will be presenting Learn Exceptional Prospecting Practices. If you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to type them into the chat feature on Zoom, or if you'd like, you can ask them at the end using your microphone and share your webcam. I'll let our featured speaker take things over from here for today. So welcome, Matt.
Thank you so much, Zach, and it's an honor to be here. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to everybody. And, I know what NAFA's done for my career, and I'm thankful for how it's helped me and allowed me to help my clients and prospects. So it is fantastic to be able to come back and give back to an organization that's given so much to me. So as you said, today we're going to be talking about ways to learn exceptional prospecting practices. And obviously the lifeblood of our business is the prospects that we have, ultimately the people that we have in our pipeline, and just constantly developing those relationships and nurturing those relationships. So extremely important, and we're going to go over how to do that well today. So a little bit about me, as Zach just said, been a part of NAFA since 2011. Initially joined because I needed a professional organization to be a part of, because I wanted to be a member of MDRT. Actually started attending, didn't know how involved I was going to get, but next thing I knew, I was asked to be a part of the Birmingham board. Next thing I knew, I was the Birmingham president from 2014 to 2015, the NAFA Alabama state president from 2017 to 2018. And, I've received some awards through NAFA with their Top Advisor Under 40 program in Birmingham, and then also through our state Top Advisor program, which we just had the first one this year. So it's been an honor to, again, be a part of NAFA. And by the way, I no longer participate in MDRT because I've gotten so involved with NAFA and really just jumped in with both feet. So NAFA's done more for me than MDRT ever did. So I am the president of Perpetual Lifestyle Planning. It's a holistic financial planning firm here in Birmingham. Founded it in 2015 and really try to serve our clients in all different types of capacities. Whatever planning needs they have, it's the continuous planning for someone's lifestyle. So that's what I do and what I represent. Fully independent. And so with that, ultimately getting into prospecting. All right, who is a prospect? And the first thing that you got to realize is everyone is a prospect until they aren't. And, so what I mean by that is, who do you know? Family, friends, church, organizations that you're a part of, boards, parents of children that you may have. Ultimately, you want to connect with every single one of those people, because you never know who you could possibly be helping or who could possibly be helping you. And again, like, I look at things through a slightly different lens than a lot of people. But I believe that we've got to be in this business to serve people versus just trying to make as much money as possible. And I know that you can be very successful in this business. And obviously, if there wasn't some level of success, you guys wouldn't want to hear anything that I have to say today. But with that, go into it with a mindset of I want to serve, I want to give back, I want to help people, and then connect with that lens, because I think it's going to be a lot more meaningful when you're having these interactions with people. But as you're meeting people in these various organizations, be thinking of what they need. And, if there's a need, how can you help them fill that need? How can you help serve them in that capacity? And when you do that, you're going to see that not only do people want to do business with you, but they want to send people to do business with you as well when you've served them well. So not just thinking about the people that you know, but who knows you. Because ultimately you can know a lot of people, but if a lot of people don't know you, then it really doesn't matter. And so it's got to be a mutually beneficial relationship. It's got to be reciprocal. And with that, people that know, like, and trust you will do business. And the people that know you but don't like you or trust you, they're not going to do business. If you don't have all three of those components, maybe they know you and they like you, but they just don't trust you. It's not going to add up. And I know that anybody that's been in this business for any period of time, they will tell you the same thing. And so when you are meeting these people, you're getting to know these people, what I always do and what I recommend that everybody does is I want to connect with them, not only in person. I want to make a good impression. I want to get to know them. I want to develop something beyond just a, hey, how are you? I want to develop a deep relationship with that person. A way to add to that deep relationship is social media. It's not instead of, it's in addition to. So with that, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, any social platform that you're a part of, that they're a part of, you need to connect on that platform. And the reason for that is it adds layers to your relationship. And I'll just give you one example real quick. Got a notification that a friend of mine, hadn't seen her probably in 30 years. I noticed that she liked one of the posts that I made on Facebook earlier this week. A few minutes later, I realized that I got a notification from her husband on LinkedIn. I ultimately realized that they had to be somewhere together talking about some sort of need that they have. Sure enough, maybe 20 minutes later, I get an email. Hey, Matt, we see what you're doing on social media. We've interviewed several advisors for financial planning. We'd love to sit down with you. They're in Atlanta. I'm in Birmingham. Again, haven't seen them in probably 30 years. But because of that connection on social media, they said, we want to sit down with you because we've just heard good things and we see some of the stuff that you've got going on. Very important. And so with that, Facebook is, I know, not the business platform, but Facebook is an area where you can constantly see what's going on in people's lives far more than you can with LinkedIn. Instagram, obviously you see the images and that tells you a little bit of the story, but Facebook, they peel back the onion a little bit. They share a little bit more, and they're having a new baby. They had a death in the family. They had a job change. They had some sort of maybe promotion. Those are all ways that we can come in and help somebody. And again, when we're thinking about genuinely serving somebody, not being self-serving, but coming in, congratulate the person, let them know that you're thinking about them or you're praying for them in the event that there's some sort of loss. Reach out and let them know what you do if they are in that job transition mode. All of those things are ways that we can come in and help. And it starts with that connection, though. You've got to be connected on all levels. And so you're not necessarily speaking to them about business on the Facebook or Instagram platforms, but you are learning more about them and they're learning more about you. And I will tell you this, if you're afraid of connecting with somebody on social media because of the things that you post, you probably need to stop posting that. If you're afraid that it will hurt your business, the things that you're liking, commenting on, or the way that you like or comment, then you probably need to stop doing that, because we need to be the same person on social media that we are from day to day. And I think that that's extremely important because number one, people don't want to hear negative stuff anyway. And so if you're negative or if you're posting stuff that isn't really appropriate, then just stop. But also if you're posting stuff that's encouraging and you're lifting people up and they're really liking the stuff that you're doing, the way that you live your life, then that's going to translate to, I want to do business with somebody who lives their life that way. So there is a direct correlation. And so with that, going back to people that you know in person, who are your centers of influence? Do you have an estate planning attorney? Do you have a CPA? Do you have a mortgage broker or mortgage company? Do you have a real estate agent? Do you have all of these people that you can send people to when they've got that need? Because again, not everybody that comes to my office, they sit down and they say, hey, I need this person, this person, this person, this person, this person. But when they do, I say, I've got somebody that I would recommend that's going to serve you just like I serve you. They're going to take care of you just like I take care of you. And the more you refer to those people, the more they're going to refer to you. And again, It's just treating people the right way, bottom line. Again, none of the stuff that you're going to hear today is going to be rocket science, but it's just putting it into practice. I've seen success doing these things, but developing strong relationships with those centers of influence. Obviously, the people that you're connecting with, the people that you're reaching, the people that you're encountering, that is where you're going to, develop those first level relationships. But people that are connected to the people that you're connected to, referrals from clients are the best referral you can ever get. When somebody says, this person did such a great job for me, you've got to talk to them. That is going to be, I don't want to say a slam dunk, but that's probably going to be somebody that does business with you 90+% of the time if you're doing the right things over and over. And when you're talking to these people, what makes you different? Why should they do business with you? In my building, for example, there's another advisor 2 offices down with the same broker dealer that I'm a part of, which is LPL. There's another major agency in our lobby. There's other advisors that are throughout this just one building. So we are a commodity. When we look at the things that we do, we are really a dime a dozen. So we've got to stand out in the things that we're doing. If you just come in and you lead with product, if you lead with commission breath, where they can tell that you're just somebody that's got to make a sale, you're probably not going to win the business. And most people don't want aggressive or pushy salespeople. Some people like that, but most people do not. So come in with a genuine heart to take care of that person's needs, serve that person, and I'm just telling you, the business will come, and that's extremely important. When we're looking at individuals that come into our office, you don't need to assume anything about anyone. And I tell you that because I've experienced this. I'm going to give you another personal example. It's 2012. I got a referral from an insurance company. Again, being independent, I was the only agent for this company in the area. And they said, hey, would you be interested in talking to this guy? He wants a term policy for his son. And I said, sure, I'd love to talk to him. Turns out it's a $20 a month term policy, $200,000. The son's in his early 20s. And initially I'm thinking, this isn't even worth my time. Really, that's just who I was at that point. I'm really $200. That's what I'm going to make off of this deal. Is it really worth my time? And so I go in, I have a conversation with the guy. He's kind of in a uniform like you would see with the guy on the left. And ultimately, we start having a conversation. He's got on a Mercedes chain. And I said, do you just really like Mercedes? What's the deal? And he said, no, I actually work out at Mercedes. I work in the plant there. I said, okay, what do you do? He said, I work in maintenance. I said, okay, sounds good. Well, when he goes to leave, we had an initial conversation, but when he goes to leave, he's getting in a brand new E-Class Mercedes. And something didn't click with maintenance and brand new Mercedes. So I had to ask more questions. When he comes back in to deliver the policy, I start, asking him more. So how long have you been at Mercedes? Well, I've been there for 10 years. Well, what does that look like? I'm making $160,000 a year. Do you have a retirement plan out there? Yes, I do. I'm contributing to it. I've got about $1 million. Well, at that point, he had 700,000. Excuse me. Well, where were you before this? Well, I was out at the steel plant, and I was there for about 14 years. Did you have retirement there? I did. Well, what did you do with it? It's still sitting there. How much do you have? 400,000. So we end up, based on relationship and conversation, said, have you ever sat down with an advisor and looked at options that you've got that are outside of your 401k that can provide you with income and retirement that you might not be able to find inside your plan? He said, I've never done that. I said, would you be interested? He said, yes. So we roll over that 400,000. Now that 700,000 is $1 million. And when he retires in another couple years, we already know that we're going to roll that over and do something else with it. Now, in the meantime, he referred another buddy of his that was working at the steel plant that rolled over 200,000. That buddy referred another buddy that rolled over 250,000. He came back and he referred his parents for life insurance. He came back and he did another policy on himself for life insurance. He referred his cousin or uncle, I can't remember, tell you his name, but not the direct relation, but rolled over another 90,000. And he's referred several other people that are still in the pipeline today. That's one of the best relationships that I've got, one of the best referral partners that I have, because initially I judged the book by its cover, and I hate to admit that, but I did. And then I started getting to know the person. And first of all, he's an incredible guy. Second of all, he had a ton of money. The guy is single, has never been married. He does have the son, but he has never been married. He is maxing out his 401k. He is saving in other investment vehicles with me. He is doing all of the right things. He just looked like he didn't have two nickels to rub together. Sometimes you will deal with somebody who look like they've got all the money in the world and they're broke. And then sometimes you'll deal with somebody who looks like they don't have anything and they've got a ton. And, just go back to the Millionaire Next Door, great book to read. It talks about some of the mindset issues that we've got as a culture. But just treat everybody kind. Because number one, you never know what they're battling. But number two, you never know who you're going to be able to serve and who could end up becoming one of your best clients. Your best client might not look the way you think it should look, but they could come in and they could bring in a ton of business that you never even thought possible out of one relationship. And that's probably over $1 million that have been from that relationship, in addition to the million that he's got that will roll over here when he retires. So again, I think the personal examples are extremely important. I've been in this business since 2007. I haven't always thought this way. Learn from my mistakes. Don't have to touch the stove to realize that it's hot for yourself. A book that I would highly recommend is Intentional Living by John Maxwell. And really, this was a book that I read in 2016, and it shifted my mindset from having good intentions to being intentional, because I think that it's extremely important. There are plenty of people that have the best of intentions, and they go to the grave with those intentions. They never walk it out. But when you become intentional about the things that you believe in, the things that you stand for, the things that you want to represent, you go to another level. And what I mean by that is, if you truly believe that you can add value to somebody, and then you become intentional about sharing with people how you can add value, it starts to take place. And a person that is intentional is somebody that goes from waiting on something to happen versus making something happen. Realizing that there's something that I can do about this situation, instead of saying somebody ought to do something about this situation. You become the person that is in charge of the decisions that you can make, and you make them right away. You will be extremely effective in all aspects of this business. But one additional example with that, I used to go to the gym all the time, and I'd put my earbuds in. I'd get a good workout. You get a better pump when you've got your adrenaline pumping, you've got good music, but I wasn't meeting anybody. I wasn't having conversations with anybody. And ultimately, I ended up, one day my earbuds weren't working. So I took them out, and I just started saying hello to people. And next thing I know, I'm having conversations with all these different people. And while I didn't try to connect with them a lot in the gym, I started saying, hey, let's go grab lunch. Hey, let's get coffee. Hey, let's get breakfast. And then I started nurturing those relationships. I started connecting with those people on social media. And now, out of a 10,000 member gym, I know a lot of the people. I go and work out at different times, sometimes in the morning, sometimes at lunch, sometimes in the afternoon, sometimes on the weekends. But I'm mixing it up, and I'm meeting and seeing all these different people. And that is a great connection point for me. But that was a shift from, hey, you know what? I need to meet more people. I need to connect with more people. But I'm putting in my earbuds in. I'm not talking to the 10,000 people that are around me on a daily basis, to taking the earbuds out, having conversations, and developing relationships that could have been there the whole time. So that is another example. But call people by name. Get to know their names and then use their names, because people want to hear their name called. You can call somebody buddy, you can call them pal, you can call them bro, whatever you want to call them. But at the end of the day, there's nothing more powerful than somebody hearing their name called, that you know them, you know their name, that they're important enough for you to remember. And I think that that's an extremely powerful element. And the other element of that too is, If you don't know their name, you just recognize their face and you say hello, how are you going to connect with them in other capacities? So you've got to get to know their name. You've got to, and here's another just little helpful hint. Once you've connected on social media, if you see them again and you can't remember their name, you can go to social media and look and say, hey, I know this person. I know their name. You can kind of cheat a little bit and say, all right, I know that this is John Smith because I just pulled it up on their social profile. Sometimes that's hard to do if you don't have any clues as to what their name starts with, but it is something that is a helpful tool, and it's helped me out a lot. Again, connecting with them on the social platforms we've already touched on, but I cannot emphasize enough the importance of this. You know, we are in a social media driven society. And when people see the stuff that you've got going on, and I don't post about business a lot, I do occasionally, but when people see the things that you're doing in all aspects of your life, it allows them to connect with you on a deeper level than just seeing them, you know, once a week at an event, or once a month at an event, or once a year at an event. You know, it's taking that level to a whole, or the relationship to a whole different level. But ultimately, just recognize the great opportunity that you have and the unlimited potential that this industry provides. Because I don't know of another industry where you can, you know, meet people of all different walks of life, you can help them, and you can also make a really good living that not only, you know, can benefit them and you today, but you can generate income for the remainder of that relationship if you do it properly. And not only through referrals, but trails, you know, manage money, things of that nature. I mean, financially, you are able to serve and help, but also be rewarded for the time and the energy that you're putting into those relationships. But with that, replicate your best clients and the way that you serve them. Think of your ideal clients and who would be similar to those people, and develop relationships with those people. Try to meet those people, have an event and get them to bring their friends. Go out to dinner, get them to bring their friends. Go to social functions where you can engage with the people that they know, like, and trust as well. Those are people where you're going to be able to cross-reference and ultimately get validation for what you're doing. So with that, in-person validation is extremely important. Word of mouth referrals, very important. Web validation is extremely important. You need to make sure that you've got a visibility on the internet. When somebody wants to search you, what comes up? If you haven't searched yourself lately, search yourself and see what comes up. Is it good or bad? If it's bad, you need to tweak some things. If it's good, then that's what the prospect's going to see when you mention getting together for a meeting. The first thing they're going to do is Google you and see, like, what is the web saying about this person? Not just in addition to, like, what are my friends saying if they've gotten that referral, but what does the web say about them? They're going to check your background. They're going to check your U4, all of those things, which are extremely important. But then what is your social validation? So if you've got good in-person validation, you've got good web validation, you've got good social validation, that's a lot of validation. That's all positive. And that's leading towards somebody wanting to do business with you. Is it going to happen every time? No. I mean, we're still in a business where it's extremely tough. It's a grind, and you got to work every single day in order to grow and build and be successful. But if you do some of these things and you do them over and over, then the business will come. What can NAIFA do to help? Again, as I talked about early, in my career, I ultimately, I didn't get involved in NAIFA until 2011, really got plugged in 2012 or later. NAIFA has helped my career so much. Not only do I have things like, this platform today where I can hear from other professionals how they do things versus trying to, figure it all out on my own, but there's a network of successful people from coast to coast that I can reach out to, that I've met at local meetings, state meetings, national meetings, congressional conference, all of those things. And the more you meet these people and you can bounce ideas off of them, some of them offer coaching, some of them will mentor you. Some of them will just guide you. You call them, hey, I'm working on this case. What would you do? I mean, that is invaluable. And NAIFA provides that because it's all different types of broker-dealers, all different types of backgrounds, all different types of agencies, all different markets, but it's a resource. And so NAIFA, I think, is the most powerful resource that we have in our industry. But you need to get involved. So there are plenty of things that you can learn from, but you've got to get involved. It's not going to just jump out and bite you. So really enjoy the opportunity to be here today. All of my contact info is here. Again, I like to mentor. I like to encourage people. I like to help people. And, so if I can ever help you, if you've ever got questions, whether it's prospecting or anything else, feel free to reach out. I'm here to help. So with that, Zach, do we have time for questions or
Yes,
comments?
we do. Yes, and thank you, Matt, for today. Appreciate your time.
Sure. Glad to do it.
And if anybody has any questions for Matt at this time, feel free to chat them in the chat box or even unmute yourself and just ask directly.
I did such a good job. Nobody's got any questions. It's great.
Stunned silence. But if you do have questions that you think of later at a later time, or you missed, I saw some people come in a little bit late. This will be recorded and distributed to you sometime either this afternoon or tomorrow. And I hope you enjoyed the presentation. You can reach out to me at recruitment@naifa.org if you have any further questions about the program or you want me to pass anything along to Matt. And Matt, thank you again. And I thank everybody for joining us today.
Thanks so much, Zach. It was an honor.
Have a great rest of your afternoon.
All right, you too.
Take care.